did you ever think what it would be like traveling along in an open car without a windshield? Boy, you wouldn't go very far before you got all splattered with mud. And you'd have to keep your eyes closed so as not to be blinded by the dust. Well, when you're traveling along in life, Rangers, common sense acts as a pretty important windshield. It lets you see where you're going.
I am the greatest.
What's up, family? In the building, this is in the Mass Media Group. Sunday, 1/14, the day before the great ancestor, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday in the building. My name is Umoya of In the Mass Media Group, and I'll let my esteemed colleagues introduce themselves.
And I am Kim with EMIN, the Mass Media Group.
And I am Darlene within the Mass Media Group, and we welcome you here today.
And then also we got a good brother in the building, Mr. Antonio Ray Harvey. How you doing, sir?
How you doing, fam? Good morning. Yes, it's Tony Ray Harvey, as y'all know too. Welcome to be on the show. This is a beautiful morning. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming, Antonio.
Yes. Well, before we start, let's get some housekeeping in so we can get this special show. It's a special show. I know on Sundays we usually do our Road to Reparations, but today we're going to be concentrating on the California Legislative Black Caucus. Accountability. Is reparations in jeopardy? Question mark. All right, family, so let's get some housekeeping jumping off. All right, Road to Reparations. If you have not seen it, please go to Road to Reparations. Reparationsnowdoc.com. That's reparationsnowdoc.com, where you get all access behind the scenes, where you can actually see our good brother Antonio Ray Harvey and our good brother Samuel Nathaniel Brown as well, when they had a good building interview session with them. It was excellent. So we're going to be posting that hopefully sometime soon on the all access. So go to reparationsnowdoc.com.
And the theatrical release is also available to view right now on Tubi TV.
For merch, go to etnmediagroupstore.com. That's etnmediagroupstore.com to get your latest merch.
And again, for all your Amazon shopping needs, use the ETN Amazon affiliate link. Just click on the link, which is available in the description, before you do all your Amazon shopping. And on Amazon, you can also pick up the 2024 Reparations Manifestation Planner. Cut the check. We are going to manifest this together, fam.
All right, and we are going to be reading the New York reparations bill. Hopefully, we're going to have the New York fam on as well. But regardless, we're going to be reading that bill soon. If you haven't seen it, Blacklisted Volume 1. right here on the Mass Media Group YouTube page. 1866 Reconstruction treaties between the United States and Oklahoma tribes. We're also going to be reading that treaty as well.
All right, and I think that's about it for housekeeping, so we can get started with the show.
All right, let's go do it. Antonio Tony Ray Harvey. Antonio Ray Harvey was born and raised in Champaign, Illinois, but has resided in Sacramento, California for 35 years. He graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism and a minor in photography from California State University, Sacramento, also known as Sacramento State University. Aside from reporting on local entertainment, community issues, city government, and political events at the California State Capitol, Harvey researches and analyzes Black people, organizations, and businesses of importance, historical locations that involves Black life and civil rights in America, education, health, and racial justice issues. Harvey is also a freelance sports journalist in Northern California for NBC Sports Radio. He covers the National Basketball Association, the National Football League, and the NCAA sports. He is an devout advocate of bringing awareness to the legacy of the Negro Baseball Leagues, which was the third largest economic institution in Black communities in the 1930s and 1940s. Harvey is a Capitol correspondent for California Black Media. Shout out to California Black Media, where he covers social justice, public policy, and politics that concern the Black community of California. Harvey is also the author of The Homicidal Handyman of Oak Park, Morris Solomon Jr., the Black serial killer case occurred in Sacramento in the mid-1980s. He is currently writing another true crime novel entitled American Vamp. So so let's give a good digital round hand clap to a good brother in the building. All right. So before we go, let's play I'm gonna play a clip from looks like our good brother interviewed. Oh, before we do that, let me play a clip from the Reparations video, and then we're gonna go to a clip from Gavin Newsom. So let's go start that, and then I want our good brother Antonio to speak about both of them. So here we go.
AB 3121, and we know the history of that now.
About reparations. Look, what's happening?
Okay.
Why isn't this reparations? Why do Black people, something that can benefit them, why don't people know about it?
That has been a solid problem since day one. Matter of fact, not really day one, because they had talked about this earlier, and now it's just chaos. You know, it's a mess right now, and what we're talking about is communication, okay? One of the drawbacks right now with the California Task Force, the 9-member panel who are doing the study and recommendations for reparations, one of the things that hasn't been done, okay, is the communication arm of it. The communication strategy has been a disaster. And if you have been reading my reports, you would know why, okay? It's really a hole in everything that was happening. Because I've had this discussion with the chairperson, Camilla Moore, okay, which is a beautiful person. You know, she's the chairperson, she's an attorney, and
shout out to Camilla.
Shout out to her. Right. And she's doing a wonderful job. Awesome. I don't care, I could say that, I could be biased about that. I could say that she is doing she's doing the best job that she can. No, she's a very intelligent Black woman. Awesome. But we had this discussion like 2 weeks ago, and one of the things that she wanted to do, because the word is not getting out, okay? If we had more things channeled or funneled through your platform, okay, we can reach a wide spread of people in the Black community who would understand and would know that these events, these activities are going on. That is not happening.
Yes, so I am the chairperson.
In regards to punditries and imperfections, surrounding reparations. My understanding, Senator Stephen Bradford introduced the legislation last fall, back in August, I believe. The California American Freedmen Affairs Agency, Senate Bill 490. Just want to, get your thoughts about was there any funding allocations for the Department of Justice in regards to keeping that process going? And have you read the final report, the 1,100?
Well, I haven't read it. I've devoured it. I've analyzed it. I've stress tested against things we've done, things we're doing, things that we'd like to do but can't do because of constitutional constraints. And I've been working closely with the Black Caucus. And I really can't stress how good a working relationship we have. Lori Wilson and others, she's been just magnificent. And we continue to work through this. They asked me, Black Caucus, they had 3 top priorities in the budget. They said, please don't cut. We didn't touch any of them. I mentioned one of them on the equity multiplier, the Bunch Center, UCLA, being another one. So we are mindful of that report, and we are deeply mindful of what will come next in partnership with the caucus, and the work continues in that space.
If I just might add right now, the state of New York they have put together a reparation task force, and they're hitting the ground running. So I would think that you're mindful of that too, correct?
No, Kathy Hochul reached out to me on this and aware of what they're doing. They're just starting a process. We just ended the first phase of that process. We're now entering second phase of the process. And as I said, working collaboratively. I don't want to get over my skis on here because of the partnership we're forming with the Black Caucus in this space to take the next steps based upon the recommendations of the report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Kim, did you want to talk about this call to action before we get in it, since you had this up?
Yeah, well, I just put it up since we just heard from the governor. So if you have, want to talk to him, inform him, or get any information about what's going on with any of these reparations legislation, here's his contact information. CJEC has several calls to action out for the CLBC members as well as Governor Gavin Newsom. So you can screenshot this or go to CJEC official on social media to get the call to action information and to contact your governor. But this is just really up as an overlay.
Okay. All right. Well, a good brother, Antonio, gave you a little bio about yourself, but I wanted to play those 2 clips for those who don't know you. First of all, let's talk about the Reparations Now documentary, and particularly with communications, right? So now that the task force is over, right, and ETM's been trying to cover what's happening right now in the reparations space as much as we can out here in California. From your perspective, how has the communications about legislation, what's happening right now, and just in general, how has that been, in your opinion, from a journalist perspective, happened since the final report and the sunsetting of the task force?
Thank you, Brother Amoya. And hello, everybody out there. And once again, good morning. Well, let me start here. As you know, I'm a Capitol correspondent for California Black Media, the executive director of Regina Brown, and I've been working on this. I've been working with her since like 2016, off and on, but now I'm pretty much working around the clock with CBM. And well, it was about 3, maybe 4 years ago, 2019. So yeah, 5 years, when this AB Assembly Bill 3121 came about. I wrote a couple reports before it became law, and into, that signing of the law back in September, I think, 2020, which, formed the 9-member panel, California Reparation Task Force. But, just going back to where you started as far as, and thank you for showing those clips, those segments. Communication is still a problem, as you can see. I mean, at this stage, when I want to hear things about legislation that they're working on, the California Legislative Black Caucus, which I think they're about to pick up the baton and run with it now, but it's still an issue with communication. I don't even think people know that this study was going on for 2 years. Then there was an interim report that was released in June 2021, then June 2022, and then the final report, the 1,100-page report that came out June 28, 2023. So a lot of people don't even know about that, okay, especially in the Black community. So when we put a lens on communication and the people who are involved, well, it's this organization right here, okay, and CJ. You're the only one talking about it. Thank God that you're the only one talking about it, because this is a serious issue. I mean, we're talking about remedies here. We're talking about recommendations. What's over 100 recommendations, okay? People don't understand that right now. So I've been talking about this for the last couple of years. We've been in these discussions. We've been in this space, and I'm going to keep talking about it. I just don't think there's a lot of effort being put to get that message out, okay? Of course, we have Black media outlets across the state that really did a great job of disseminating the information and the reports that I was writing, over the past 2 and 2.5 years, okay? And working with my sources. This group, this organization, CJ, and Men's Mass Media Group, okay, have been my primary source. I must say that. In regards to the other individuals, in Southern California, like Chad Brown, Kanza Muhammad, Friday Jones, Marcus Champion, and things like that. Okay, the only way I could have been able to relay this and convey these messages about what's going on circling reparation is through these organizations, and this organization need to continue doing what they're doing. Now, I know there was an anchor organization, 7 of them, in part with CJAC, with you guys and Chris Lodson, where they need these groups need money to continue that work, okay? Because now we're in the next phase. As I posed a question to Governor Newsom about SB 490, which would institute the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency, okay, which I would really love to come into fruition, where there needs to be more legislation following that. And as we know about SB 490, that would pretty much be the nucleus, the headquarters of everything that's going on, to facilitate such things as, making people are certified African descendants of slavery, okay, fielding, some of the issues that they've been having here in the state, which could be housing discrimination, education, redlining, employment, things like that. That is what I'm really concerned about right now as far as SB 490. I know that's Senator Stephen Bradford's bill, but he's on the clock. I mean, the hourglass is running on him because his term ends at the end of this year. So the rest of the members from the California Legislative Black Caucus, CLBC, they're going to have to pick up the baton and carry this thing through. So I don't know how much work that he'll be able to put through. Maybe he will get something pushed through by the end of this year, October to be exact. And then we can keep this discussion, keep these conversations going on. But I know, I'll keep saying it, okay? You have to include communication. You have to include communication. I think that was and I think there was some constitutional constraints that kind of like held down the California Department of Justice trying to work in that area. I mean, I know they was concentrating on other things, but we had these anchor organizations, including CJAC, to do the best going up. But we still look. We got radio, we got print, okay, we got television, we got digital online. There's still ways to communicate with these things. Okay, we still have people work with these grassroots organizations. I'm talking about in the Black community that can push this thing and get these get that information out. Because when it come down to it, say if they do cut the check, everybody's going to be coming all at once, but they're not going to know what to do. Okay, all they want to know is, hey, where's my check? Okay, there's about 2.5 million Black folks here of African descent here in the state of California. Okay, we're going to need help in getting that information out to this as much as possible. Everybody. Okay, this is a state population is around 40 million individual souls and stuff. We need to just clamp down on that a little bit more. So, as we had talked before we went on the air, yes, I was the only Black reporter the other day. It was that January 10th, Wednesday, at the Secretary of State building. That's where they had the January budget proposal that was presented by Governor Newsom. And of course, that had to be one of the questions that I had to get into about reparations, because I know when I asked him the same question about the last budget, this was back in May 2023, the final revision of the budget before it was signed at the end of June 2023. I asked him the same question, but of course he couldn't provide anything at that time because the final report hadn't been out and he didn't want to talk about it. So he kind of like danced around it. So I understood that. But now when you see me, I may just have a question about reparations because I want to keep that in the air. And I know everybody on here, Kim, Darlene, the work that y'all been putting in, y'all been up and down the state, covering all those meetings, whether it was in person or virtual. Okay. I would love it because y'all had a passion for it, that you continue to do that. Okay. As well as the connection that you have with the organizations down there in Southern California. This is really important. Okay. I'm not saying we're in an inflection point, whether it goes up, go down, with this situation, but yes, New York, they just signed a law December 19, 2023. Okay. Now they have a reparations commission. Okay. That's going to focus on racial justice and remedies. So I'm not saying I don't want them to surpass the efforts that's going here in the state of California, but it kind of consummates everything that's just going on around here, around the country and stuff. There are some people who are involved and they do understand, the significance of these type of legislations that can be put forward. Okay, because we're the only one that's not getting anything. Okay, I know Amoya, we had this discussion last weekend about a bill, California bill here about Medicaid that will provide services and funding for 700,000 immigrants. That's all I had to say. Now, I'm not disrespectful about that in any area, in any way, but these people come from another country, and they get services right off the bat. Okay, I had some people, ancestors, all of us, sitting in the bowels of a slave ship, okay, being transported across the Atlantic to areas they've never been before, and they're in chains. They're locked down, okay? And as soon as they land here, we got some people say, hey, look, we need 15 acres cleared here, okay? We got to get this tobacco up off the ground. We got to get this cotton up out of the ground. We got to get this sugar, okay, manufactured, okay, processing stuff. That was offered for us. But once we hear something like this law just went in effect January 1st, that 700,000 immigrants, okay, will get Medicaid, okay? Well, we're suffering that area too, okay? I just mentioned it before. I mean, we're dealing with over-policing, okay? Housing discrimination is still alive, so is banking, okay? We still have health disparities that we're lowest on the totem pole, Okay, that's what reparation and all these things are about. But if you're going to give funding to this set of population, okay, you got to look out for us too. All right, and we have suffered the most. I don't really have to say that. I'll have to be more clear than what I'm talking about right now, and where we are as Black people in the United States of America. So yeah, communication.
Tony, I have a question. Being in the budget meeting, how did you feel about the response that you received from the governor when you asked your question?
Oh, good question. Well, what kind of surprised me a little bit, because I know he's been reading, over this 1,100-page report at some point, because you're the governor and you have to do that. But what I did not know is he's been having these conversations with the members of the California Legislative Black Caucus. Okay, Lori Wilson, Democrat, Assembly member of Lori Wilson, Democrat from Sassoon City, right outside of Fairfield here in Northern California. She's a chairperson, so I know he's been in conversation with her. As he said, there was 3 different areas in a budget that this group, this political organization, this caucus has expressed their concerns about, and they didn't want anything to be cut out of that. So that right there, to me, anybody can take it anywhere, it's encouraging, okay? Because we have to have these discussions. There hasn't been a lot of talk about that, but I know here soon Senator Stephen Bradford is going, to make SB 490 a little bit louder, okay? Just a little bit louder, because that's the starting point. That's why I brought it up there. But I was a little bit surprised that Governor Newsom did mention that they've been having these type of talks, these discussions. So I would think that they're going to pick up here in the next few days, few months, few weeks and stuff. So as I explained before, I was the only Black reporter there. Okay, so I just felt that, being in this space, as far as reporting, those questions are not going to be addressed if no one's asking them. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I'm in a perfect position that I've been covering, Black politics and public policy for California Black media over the years, that I'm in a position to kind of like articulate that to them so they can understand. Because I will say this, as far as color, after I had finished posing my question to the governor and I got the response, those other reporters was on it too. Okay, non-Black reporters too. They're on this too. They were listening. Okay,
they started talking about the reparations issue.
About reparations, yes. I'm talking about the reparations.
I haven't seen the whole meeting. What other types of questions, budgetary concern questions, were being asked at the meeting?
Oh man, I mean this. Let's see. Governor Newsom spoke for about an hour. Okay, so we're talking about climate change, education. Oh yes, and the big one right now with retail theft. I mean, there's going to be some money put in the budget, to combat retail theft. As we know, this is sweeping the nation. This type of crime that's been taking place. I really want to ask him a question about that too, because I understand, the question. I understand the situation, but as far as retail theft, there are some Black communities here who are combating it on their own. Okay, I think there's a group in Oakland. Okay, they're watching out for these type of activities. Okay, meaning they're trying to prevent these things from happening. And then I read a report about a group in Watts, in Southern California, LA area, about their efforts to help, stop these type of crimes too. See, people don't know about these type of stories. That's why I want to ask these type of questions. I mean, they're throwing money at it. I understand, but they don't understand that people in the Black community, we're fed up with this, what they call it, smash and grab type of thing. It's like, before all this ascended, these type of crimes, I mean, before COVID, there was only like allocated, not allocated, there was about $1.5 million loss, loss prevention in regards to retail theft. Well, now that has doubled to like 4 million or 5 million. Okay. And it might go up even more if they don't get a handle on these type of things too. So those type of discussions that he was having, I know one of the big things was there that I had to pay attention to because I put a report out, for our community about the budget deficit, which the legislative analyst office, which is kind of like the financial watchdog of how we spend money, at least how the state legislature spend money. They had concerns that it would be a $68 billion deficit. I know they keep saying around 70, but I think their number, LAO, Legislative Analyst Office, had put it a deficit at $68 billion. So Governor Newsom, refuted that and saying, no, my finance department, the Department of Finance said it's going to be around $37.9 billion deficit, which they think that they could close because Malia Cohen, who is the controller of the state, if anybody know about her, she's Black, African American, and she's out of San Francisco. She's the controller of the state. She said we have a rainy day fund that will cover any deficit that we've had. Now, what people don't understand is this rainy day fund, well, we have a general fund. The state has a general fund. I think it has about $200 billion in that treasure code. Okay, so they could, if there is a budget deficit, they could take some money out of that fund, the rainy day fund, to cover any deficit that we had. That hasn't been really talked about as well. So, and it's going to affect a few things too, because I know as far as the budget deficit, we're always talking about education, and I think that's where a lot of that talk has been centered around. And we're reporters. I mean, we're going to talk about these things. We have to disseminate the information based on facts. Okay, LAO came out with their report, and they said it was a late report coming in anyway, and I'll go into that later on. And then the governor, he came out, with his side of the story. So, but it's still a long ways. It's going to be a May revision for the budget, and then they'll vote on it, sometime in June, and then they'll pass it on there. But this could, as we go through these activities, this process, I'll be able to share more information about it. But it's every year we have to deal with the budget and stuff. That's why California Legislative Black Caucus, they're getting in there right now to say, hey, well, we don't want this cut, we don't want that cut. These programs, mean this much, to our community, the Black community, which that is their job. That is their job. So, yeah, I mean to go long-winded on that, but there was so many things that was going on for the last. I think we was in there for almost 2 hours, and as you heard me, Governor Newsom talk about punditries and imperfections that the state have, but he loved the state. It's a beautiful state. We're doing great things. Okay, all right, Will. All right. Me, I'm talking about reparations. We want to talk about punditries and imperfections. Well, let's complete that. Let's not make that incomplete. Let's try to make that imperfection perfected. Make sure we get our piece of a pie too, because this is really important at these times.
Yes, it is. And thank you for speaking up and being in the room and doing the work. Now, with the California Black Media Coalition, it's actually a coalition of Black media outlets throughout California, I would take it. How many would you say are involved? Black media outlets are involved in your California Black Media Coalition?
Some of these people, thanks for asking that question too. Some of these publishers, I would say up around 30, which is really a good number. And I'll just put it like this. This happened like mid-December. We had a conference call with California Legislative Black members. Lori Wilson was the facilitator. You know, it was hosted by California Black Media, of course. And a few of these publishers and media outlets, Black, were in on that call. So hopefully we'll have more of these type of gatherings, informational gatherings in the future. And that right there showed me how the interest of these media outlets, these Black media outlets, how interested they are in basically Black politics, okay, and public policy and social issues that's going on in our community, which is a really big thing there. Okay, so we don't get the information out there, and the people don't understand what's happening there. Okay, you could hear it from the mainstream media, but when it comes to our voice, it makes it more even powerful because we know the language, we know how to translate that articulate that to our community and stuff like this. So that's important. But as far as the number of outlets that we have, and I speak to some of these people. I understand this, covering the reparations and working with California Black Media, I've been able to reach out to the rest of the state, to these other organizations. I've been in contact with the San Diego Voice and View down in San Diego, the Oakland Post, the LA Focus, Pace News, which is coming out of Inglewood. Okay, I don't have to talk about the other paper because we already talked about that. They publish my stuff right here in Sacramento, which is good. I want that information to get out. So we're active and engaged. That's pretty much the word. I'm deriving that from other sources and stuff like that. But we're actively engaged in these situations, and I really appreciate working with CBM so I can have a statewide presence, because I don't feel like I was having that here locally. I was covering a lot of stuff locally here in Sacramento for a better part of 20 years. So when you just go online, most of these, we try to put together a list of all those partners that we have with California Black Media, because, and the LA Sentinel, I don't want to leave them out to Los Angeles Sentinel. They do a really good job of getting this information out, okay? And we try to do our part because we're basically, CBM is basically like a news service, okay?
That's what I was going to ask. You're kind of like the AP service. So
exactly, right.
Then you kind of aggregate all these stories coming from different Black media outlets. And where can we find that kind of aggregated information from Black news media? What are your social channels at California?
We only send out about 5 to 6 reports a week, and it's I'm not saying it's a hit or miss type of thing. We're just basically at the mercy of the publisher. If they have space to run it, in their hard print, newspaper, they'll do that as well. If not, most of the stuff just wind up on the internet, which we get a lot of traffic there. So, at this stage, we're working on some things to be more accessible, okay? But we do want to be respectful of our partners because they don't want to publish our work, okay? I'm not the only reporter for CBM. There's other reporters, most of them from Southern California, so they cover a lot of things that's going on, like LA, San Bernardino, Riverside, on down to San Diego as well. But we're working on those. Not like we're saying we're working on this string beam budget, but that's basically where we are. All I can say, if you have any information, if you have any interest in California Black Media, just Google it in, and it will pop up all over the place. Right now, with my position, I will be covering the state capitol a lot more than we had in the past, so I can bring it to our community and make sure everybody understand the messaging and the process and the laws that affect our community.
So I do have, you should see on the screen the California Black Media website. Is it cablackmedia.org? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So if anybody's interested in California Black Media, which I think you should be, I also put it in the chat to check them out as well.
And you
I have a
also,
quick question,
if you have any concerns, or if you have any issues of importance, especially that you think that the state of California, Black Californians, might be interested in too, there should be a email address on there, as well as there you go. All right. We even got a mailing list right there. So check that out too.
Yes. Tony, I have a quick question for you. First of all, I'd just like to thank you and appreciate you for being at that.
Thank you, darling.
Yes, I mean the other day, speaking to the the governor. But I guess my question is, you've kind of answered it as far as the issues that was with the communication during the task force hearing and still happening. My question to you is, yourself and what is the California Black media, what could they possibly do to reach the classes that are not going to be on the internet? Basically, the boomer classes who are still, a great big voting block. I mean, they're not getting the messages. Do you have any ideas of what we can do, besides boots on the ground, trying to go to these places where the boomer class is, the senior citizens? Is anything else being put in the works to reach that class? Because there's still very large class to reach out to.
Yeah. There are some things that's being worked on. I can't really go into details, and I'm glad you mentioned that too, Darlene, because I had this discussion with Reggie Jones Sawyer, Assemblyman Reggie Jones Sawyer, and he's been really concerned about the communication here too. Of course, he expressed his opinions to me about these certain classes across here that doesn't get the information as well. So I'm just writing these things down to make sure that we'll have an answer for you here in the short time future. Because yes, and that's the reason why these organizations such as ETM Media Group and CJAC is really important. Okay, because I listen to you guys. Okay, like I said, you're a primary source. Okay, so this is something not exactly new to me, Darlene, but it's something that must be taught. It must be spoken in a large volume. You know what I mean? As far as exposing these type of things, but I definitely want to have a conversation with you, offline, because yes, those type of things are important too. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Well, I guess, Darlene, my question to you would be, what areas or what vicinities do you think the boomer class hang out at?
I mean, they hang out, first of all, they do hang out in the churches. They hang out everywhere. The issue is they're just not going to get on social media. I spoke to a friend of mine recently about something, and he says, "Oh, so what's happening with the reparations? It's just like it's been forgotten. It's dead." For one thing, I had to remind him, well, you're not on social media. No, it is not dead. This is what we're doing. So it's that disconnect. Understood about the task force hearings, but by this person not being on social media, he thinks we're not doing anything. So that's a problem. So not only the California Black media, but I'm saying myself personally. I mean, I was working with the Richmond Senior Citizen Center. They're just not going to get on it. So it's those kind of things that I'm concerned about. I mean, that is my class group.
Well, can I? I don't mean to interrupt you, Darlene. Could I say that? I forgot to mention this too, because there have been a lot of leadership committee assignments that Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas have appointed. A lot of these members, it's like 8 members from the California Legislative Black Caucus that have leadership assignments, meaning they preside over certain committees. Corey Jackson, Assemblyman Corey Jackson from I think Riverside, Democrat. He was assigned to the subcommittee budget on health. Okay, and part of that committee is working with our elders here in California. Now, I do know that the boomers, okay, these are people who were born between 1940 and 1965, I believe. Okay.
Well, there's two
They're
separate
becoming an
classes. They're
older
divided
population.
into
They're
two.
probably one of the. They're going to be one of the oldest living populations. Okay, it's right now in California around 4 or 5 million people in that range. Well, it's going to double in the next 4 or 5 years. It's going to be 8 or 9 million from the boomer class. From the boomer class, and we have to make sure that we have services and programs that's going to accommodate them too. So
yes,
as we speak about these things, I'm glad you're concerned about this thing. Like I said, I'm gonna find those answers for you. Okay. We have to talk to people such as him, since he's over that committee, and find out what we can do as far as injecting that conversation into reparations.
Okay. I'm writing his name down as we speak.
Yeah, Dr. Corey Jackson. He's a member of the CLBC. He's a Democrat from, I want to say Riverside or what's that other one? Moreno Valley.
Yeah, we're actually going to be touching on Corey Jackson as well a little bit as we go along with the program with the CLBC. But yeah, thanks for that, brother. And I just want to interject just real quick. The church needs to step up.
Well, yes,
all across
do.
the nation, but especially here in California with reparations, they just need to step their game up. That's where predominantly a lot of Black people go to attend. So if they're, if Black people don't know about reparations wherever they're at in the nation, I don't know, talk to your church.
Well, and another thing about the churches in the 1900s, they were such a powerful political force, but certainly they have changed during the years. So you're absolutely correct, Umar. They need to step their reparations game entirely.
Yeah, I mean, especially if the boomers that's where they hang out at.
Well, that's where they are.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll there's something in the works, that offline that I've talked to our good brother, Antonio about, in terms of, starting a specific, reparations communications via newspaper, but, that takes a lot of money to do, but, that might be in the works in the near future. So we'll see.
Yeah, and that would be great because they still, that class still wants print copies.
Yeah.
They do, and as you said, that it's very expensive to do. I mean, look at the Chronicle and the Examiner. They might as well. They're not even basically functioning anymore. So the print copy would be great, but it's so costly.
Yeah,
we have to do something. Yes.
Exactly. All right, brother. Well, you're welcome to hang out. We would love you to stay if you have any comments. But you will also be live on Politics in Black. Shout out to elite brothers and sisters down in Los Angeles with our good brother and host, Chad Brown. Looks like it's going to be today at 4 p.m. So for those who are available and on the replay, go check out our brother at Tony Ray Harvey. And it looks like they're going to also have the U.S. Freedmen Project. Looks like some of our good advocates out there from New York are also going to be on the show.
Well, hey, once again, family, Darlene, Kim, Moya, thanks for everything. I really like to have these discussions in these type of spaces, and I hope, we can have more of them in the future. I'm learning things right now. That's my job as far as being a journalist, to go out and seek, and talk to authorities and question authority and try to bring this information back and disseminate it in the masses. So that's really important to me. When we have these type of platforms, I really look forward to it. Yes, I'll be on Chad Brown Black and Politics show later on this evening and stuff. So I hope everyone is turning to that. For all of y'all, out there, keep doing what you're doing. I mean, we're beautiful Black people, okay? It's a lot of hard work that we're out here doing it. We're going to continue it, but it's basically, we'll do it for the love, we do it for the passion, and hey, we're doing it for everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'm going to listen to the rest of the show, but I'm going to sign off. Love, peace, and solidarity.
All right, Antonio, you will be getting my email for that book.
Oh, yeah.
I want a signed copy.
Okay, I'm gonna put that in the chat. I'm gonna put that in here before I leave out of here, dog.
Okay, please do.
I got you.
All right.
Homicide on Henry Vanderbilt Park is still on. It's still on set. This is August 2012. Okay, if you want to know anything about one of the first black serial killers, one of them here in Sacramento, California, please pick up that book. It took me 8 years to write that book.
Can you hold it up again, Antonio?
Oh man, I don't even have it. I don't think I have
took it away. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, that's it. But see,
Yes,
I'm a true fan. I am a true crime fan. I can watch it day and night, every day. Yes. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my God. You know, I'm like, okay.
Right here in Sacramento.
Click
Thank you
the
for bringing it up here. Yes.
yeah,
All
click
right.
the EPM affiliate and get it on Kindle.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Antonio, for joining us
Love you
today,
all.
and for being in the room and asking the important questions.
Yeah, brother, we so appreciate you, man, because oftentimes, man, when we're in these spaces, right, sometimes we just don't have the opportunity to mention, especially reparations and especially SB 490. That's so important. It's critical right now, bro. You know what I mean? That we get this Freedmen Affairs Agency up. I mean, people don't understand. And I guess my question, one real quick question, just ask me, bro, and then we
I have all day. Go ahead.
Okay, so from your perspective, right? Is an organization or an agency like Freedmen Affairs Agency even necessary, SB 490, to facilitate and then to distribute what we're calling cash reparations and etc.?
Well, based on my conversation with the chairperson of the California Reparation Task Force, attorney Camila Moore, I think we're going in the right direction with that, because it's kind of like not like a blueprint of the Freedmen Bureau that was instituted right after the Civil War that only lasted about 8 or 9 years and things like that. But I think that I really do think that this could be a catalyst of what direction that we need to go, and that's just my personal opinion. Now we got to understand that at least one of the recommendations that CAFA, which we have been calling it, California American Freedmen Freedmen Affairs Agency, I'm getting it right, okay, will be based here in Sacramento, here at the state capitol, but we will have satellites across the state that would help service the community, service the Black people. So you know how these things go, man. Once we get started, we got to put it together, and it's a trial by error thing, and hopefully everything will work out with that. But we have to start somewhere. And I think SB 490 is a good bill to roll out to get us there. And that's just my personal opinion, because as far as working with these genealogists, which many of them were presented, during the 2-year affair when the meetings. Reparation Task Force was meeting there, they got some pretty good ideas of how we can, find out about our past, our ancestors, especially ones here that were born here in America. So I have faith in this. Okay, it's gonna be a trial by error thing once this thing once it happens and stuff. But Amoya, I just have faith in this. I think whatever we can come up with, we have to make it work. We have to make it work, because right now, we are the blueprint. Okay, if you look at the legislation that was signed by Governor Kathy Hochul of New York, they're basically doing the same thing that we're doing. Okay, they have to come out with a report in about a year. Okay, and I'm pretty sure it's going to lead to one thing: this knockoff Freedmen's Bureau and stuff. So. Got to start somewhere. I won't go too far into that, but we got to start somewhere. We'll have these discussions in the future. Thanks for asking.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you. See you later this afternoon.
Yes, thank you, darling. I got you. Have a great one.
You too.
All right,
Bye.
so let's get
Alrighty.
this music popping again. All right, that was a good brother, Antonio Ray Harvey, in the building, holding it down. So important. Once again, he's going to be on Politics in Black down in Los Angeles, city of Angel, with the U.S. Student Project, hosted by Chad Brown. All right. So, what y'all think about that discussion? We have discussion interviews on our
I
channel.
thought it was great. You know, I just I mean he's a professional, but you know how it is. Sometimes you're in that group and you're the only descendant out of 200. You know what I mean? But I applaud him for asking the question that needed to be answered. And as he said, others reporters springboarded off of him. So that was important.
Yes, very important.
Mhm.
It's a little disheartening that he's still the only reporter in there reporting on reparations. You think that there'd be more momentum behind it, more press in there covering it. So definitely need that coalition of Black media, to be present.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get the show. Let's continue the show. Right. Could we go back to the other slide just real quick? Okay. Thank you. We're just going to mention the 12 members just real quick, and then we'll get started. So Lori Wilson is the chair of the California Black Caucus. We have Stephen Bradford as vice chair, Isaac Bryan as member, Dr. Keela Weber as a member. You know what? Let me just mention who they are, assemblies or Senate. So let me just do that real quick. So go back to Lori Wilson. She's the Assembly. Senator Bradford is Senate. Isaac Bryan is Assembly. Dr. Keela Weber is member. She's Assembly. Tina McKenna, she's Assembly. Lola Smallwood Cuevas, Senator. Mike Gibson, Assembly. Reginald Jones Sawyer, Assembly. Mia Bonta, Assembly. Christopher Holden, Assembly. Dr. Corey Jackson, Assembly. And Kevin McCarthy, Assembly. All right, so speaking of the chair, Lori Wilson, we'll briefly go over this because we've actually touched on the chair, Lori Wilson, before. She's of the Democratic Party. It looks like her population for the Black American is around 12%, 62,000. Housing, jobs, homeless is pretty much what she supports currently. And she had she was not in office at the time of AB 3121. And we have Senator Bradford. Let's see, Black or African American alone, 18%. Wow, population at 178,000. As we do know, he was a member of the California Reparations Task Force and also is the author of SB 490, the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency here in California. His district includes Los Angeles County, Carson, San Pedro, Compton, West Compton, and Gardena, and etc. And during the time of AB 3121, he voted yes.
Okay, next up we have Assembly Member Isaac Bryan. He is from District 55. His Black or African American population is 20.6% or 95,563. He supports environmental justice, racial equity, housing justice, re-imaging the criminal system, and he was not in AB 31. He was not in office during the AB 3121 vote. Yes. And we have Assembly Member Keela Weber, or as the more just stated, Dr. Akia Weber. She is a board certified obstetrician and gynecologist. She is in District 39. I'm sorry, she is in District 79. And she is in the county. Her county is San Diego. Areas represent La Mesa, Lemon Grove, Spring, La Presa, just to name a few. She has she has been the chair of the La Mesa Homeless Task Force on Public Health. She supports STEM programs for underrepresented youth. She introduced AB 1815, which is discrimination on hairstyles and amateur sports. I'll talk about that in a minute. She has an office in the Capitol, and she also has one in La Mesa, California. And according to the 2020 population census, she has a total population of 503,396, white at 27.3% or 136,745, Hispanic or Latino 43.0% or 217,636. Her Black or African American is at 11.16% or 56,467. Asians are at 12.99% or 65,703. And she was not in office during the AB 3121 vote. She is a CLBC member, and she is the daughter of Secretary of State Shirley Weber. And she is a member of the Democratic Party Assembly representing District 79. She assumed office April 19, 2021. Her current term ends on December 2nd, 2024. And she is running for re-election to the California State Senate to represent District 39. She is on the ballot in the primary for March the 5th, 2024. And Assemblymember Juan Capero actually holds that seat now, and he is also running for the seat of Senate District 39. And the Hispanic population at that District 39 is at 60%. So, I mean, I just question why doesn't she just want to stay in District 79? But as we said earlier, they do tend to play musical districts. So, Dr. Akia Weber, she introduced on January the 10th or the 11th, I saw 2 dates, AB 1815. Layman terms, it's almost like a Crown Act. And she introduced it in the entire CLBC membership, all co-authored it. And it is added to the section of the Civil Code relating to discrimination. And what I found particular in section 153.8, it doesn't come out and say Black people, because when we say Crown Act, we know we're talking about Black women in particular. But in number 4, it does say no discrimination against protective hairstyles includes but is not limited to such hairstyles as braids, locks, or twists. Well, by default, we know that she's speaking of the descendant community. And right now, that bill was just introduced, and the Legislative Council Digest, they just looked at it, and what has to happen, nothing's going to happen until 30 days. So we just have to wait and see what's going on with that. So.
All right. Before we go on, I'm going to share my screen here if I can. We're going to briefly touch. It looks like she's going to have a virtual town hall that I would encourage. If we could, thank you for that. Let's see here. All right. So she is having a virtual town hall, and I'll put the link in the chat. I do highly recommend everybody join the town hall. She's going to be talking about the budget, this so-called $68 billion deficit facing California. It's going to be Wednesday, January 17th from 5:30 to 6:30. Once again, I will put in the link. ETM tried to sign up for it for some strange, odd reason. If you sign up for it and you don't get a confirmation, I guess let us know at etmmediagroup@gmail.com. I didn't get a confirmation, so I don't know if we signed up for it. But go ahead and try. You can just go ahead and fill out your contact information, hit submit, and hopefully you'll be signed up for it. So hopefully it's still happening. I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to share that information for you. And it's up to you. I'm not telling you what to put in there, but I would definitely highly suggest that if you are interested in reparations and get her take on it, there is a please submit your question here. So you can submit any comments or your questions to Dr. Akilah Weber for her budget town hall webinar.
So Mario, when you entered the information, what came back? Did it just say
nothing? Zero.
Nothing.
It just hit submit and then
just nothing.
Green. I was just like, I didn't know, and I didn't get a confirmation email or anything. So I don't know what's happening, but if anyone else signs up and they were able to successfully get a confirmation, please let us know at etmmediagroup@gmail.com. But as far as I'm aware, it's still happening Wednesday, January 17th from 5:30 to 6:30.
Yeah, because that confirmation holds, the confirmation happens almost simultaneously after.
Yeah.
You know, you hit the submit button.
Did you drop the link in the chat, Emoya, or could you?
Yeah, I will be doing that.
Great.
So let me stop.
All right, so that's it on Akilah Weber for you, Darlene. Now this Crown Act bill.
We'll call it the Crown Act, but it's just a discrimination act.
How is it different? I mean, we already have the Crown Act, so what? This just adds extra protections?
Well, the thing of it is, and if someone, you could just screenshot, I gave the link to it, but it is, because I think everyone has seen that, and I don't know if it was in California, about that young man that was a wrestler and they made him cut his locks off. So it's really to not discriminate in non-professional youth sports organization. I personally would like to see it transfer into the schools, the public schools, maybe not the private, because there's, that's a little tricky. But it's for sports because, I think it's one girl, she had to take her beads out, or they were going to disqualify her, or, they cut the young man's
but they said that was a safety issue, so I kind of understood.
Well, the beads, yes, the beads, yes, but the cutting of the hair, that's another thing.
Going too far.
Yeah, that's going too far. And so it is targeting the sports organization. I just would like to see it, get into the public schools. I mean, I know they can't, monitor the private schools, but we're discriminated against our hair in everywhere we go. So I'm just interested to see what happens to it. And they're not calling it a Crown Act. They're just calling it a discrimination act. And they are using the word race all through it. So I thought that was interesting.
Is that when we speak about race, is that going to be, a constitutional thing too? Or I wonder?
I don't know. It's it has to sit for 30 days until we see what happens. I'm very much interested in see how that's going to play out. They are using the word race. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Darlene, for that. We'll definitely keep an eye out on that one.
Yes. Okay. And up next, we had her before. We have Assembly member Tina. Oh, I can't see her last name. It's McKenna. Right there, and she is in the California State Assembly District 61. Her Black or African American population is 25.25%, or 124,160. And of course, she is also a member of CLBC, and she was not in office during the AB 3121 vote.
All right. And our second Black senator, there are two serving at the moment, Senator Stephen Bradford and Senator Lola Smallwood Cuevas. She represents the county of Los Angeles. She's been in office from 2022 to present. At the time of the AB 3121 vote, she was not in office. Let's see, she supports access to quality jobs, reduce employment discrimination, improve industries that employ Black workers through action and unionization. So those are her priorities there. Let's see, as far as her Black constituency, that is at 4.2% in the Los Angeles area and approximately 41,000 constituents that are Black.
Very low. Okay. We have a similar member, Mike Gibson, who is out of District 65. His current tenure, he started in 2022 to the present, and his term ends in 2024. He has an office at the state capitol in Sacramento and has a district office in Gardenia, California. His counties represent Los Angeles areas of Watts, Willowbrook, Compton, and Willowhook, and Compton and Carson. He supports police reform, social justice, education, health, housing. And according to the 2020 census, the total population is 503,396, white at 6.86%, or 34,512, Hispanic or Latino, 37.14%, or 186,952, Black or African American at 19.87, or 100,018, Asian at 6.90, or 34,724. 724. Assemblymember Gibson is with the Democratic Party. He is a member of the California State Assembly representing District 65. He assumed office on December 5th, 2022. His current term ends on December 2nd, 2024. Assemblymember Gibson is running for re-election to the California State Assembly to represent his same district at 65. He is on the ballot in the primary on March 5th, 2024. His AB 3121 vote was a yes, and he is a member of the CLBC. This is something I found in his bio. I'll just read it briefly. It says, most notably, Assemblymember Gibson worked in the areas of police reform, education, social justice, health, and housing has resulted in several awards that include Legislator of the Year by the California Association of Black Lawyers, the 2021 Champions of Adults with Sickle Cell Disease by the Sickle Cell Disease Foundation, the Outstanding Legislator Award by the Community College League of California, and the Legislator of the Year again by the Children's Law Center, among many others. So great shout out to him. But this year we want Assemblymember Gibson to win the award of Legislator of the Year for introducing and supporting state reparations bills that are strong, bold, and include tangible benefits for descendants of U.S. chattel slavery. That is my shout out to Assemblymember Gibson.
Okay, thank you for that. And yes, we do want strong, bold, tangible benefits. All right, up next we have Assemblymember Reginald Joyce Sawyer. He represents Los Angeles, areas in Los Angeles, District, California State Assembly District 57 is what he represents. His tenure is from 2022 till present. Term ends 2024. says years in position 1, but we know that he has served in prior offices, California State Assembly 59. The population that he serves, total number, is just over 500,000. Of that, Black, we have 16.99%, and that's roughly 86,165 Black constituents. We just went over Regional Assemblymember John Sawyer last week and stated that he is a civil rights pioneer descendant. His uncle was one of the Little Rock 9 high school students in 1957. He supports affordable and accessible higher education, advanced job creation, and protections for immigrants. During the AB 3121 vote, he did vote yes on that. So let's see. He is a candidate for the Los Angeles City Council District 10 coming up, because he will be terming out of the California legislature, and his next political aspiration is to run for the City Council District 10 in Los Angeles. If you're in that area, yes, you just want to be aware of that. Okay. And
okay, we have gone over before Assemblymember Mia Bonta, but briefly, she is with the Democratic Party, Assembly District 18. Her tenure is 2021 to present, and her term ends 2024. Her Black population is 21.3%, or 106,000, and she represents the counties of Alameda and San Francisco, so I would say that is about right. She supports the end of homelessness, affordable housing, criminal justice reform, and climate change. And she was not in office during the AB 3121 vote. And of course, she is a CLBC member.
All right, so we have Chris Holden. Looks like he supports education, provides social and racial justice, protect public health, developmental disability service providers, economic growth, environment, working families, represents the counties of Los Angeles and San Bernardino. He is in, looks like, District 41 with Black or African American population at 29,000, or close to 6%. And at the time, he voted for AB 3121 was a yes. So we have gone over Assemblymember Chris Holden before, but he's an OG in the California State Assembly. So shout out to Chris Holden.
Yeah. Well, he's terming out. Do we know his next political goal, or if there is any? Do we know?
That's a good question. I don't know any at the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm not sure, and it's not indicated here on his Ballotpedia profile.
Yeah, so
we'll have to keep an eye out for that. All right, and we've got Corey Jackson representing District 60. And that includes the county of Riverside, population 469,000 plus. Of that, Black or African American, we have 11.14%. That's roughly 52,348 Black constituents. He was not in office at the time of the AB 3121 vote. His tenure is from 2022 to present, and his term ends in 2024. But he's a candidate for the California State Assembly District 60. So he will be running again, and he is on the ballot in the primary on March 5th, 2024. He supports breaking cycle of poverty and violence through mentoring, education, community organizing, and decriminalizing youth of color. So that is Corey Jackson, Assemblymember Corey Jackson, District 60. And rounding out our introduction of the California Legislative Black Caucus, we have Assemblymember Kevin McCarty, California State Assembly District 6, which serves the county of Sacramento, population 518,242. Of that, Black or African American, 9.88%, or roughly 51,221 Black constituents. Let's see, his tenures from 2022 till present, terms in 2024. Let's see, he supports education, voting rights for the formerly incarcerated, independent investigations for police shootings, and he did vote yes on the AB 3121 vote. And yeah, that is Assemblymember Kevin McCarty. He is actually going to be, it doesn't say here, but he is running for the mayor of Sacramento.
Oh, really?
Yes, in the upcoming election. So we are keeping an eye out for him in his mayoral campaign as well.
And his term ends, his term ends this year, okay.
Yeah, his term ends 2024. So let me see, that would be December 2nd, 2024. So if he, does get mayor, they may have to, put somebody in his place. That doesn't exactly time out. All right, and some of the other things, as you know, if you follow CJEC, on Instagram, CJEC Official, at CJEC Official. They've been putting out calls to actions to CLBC members all last week. Here's one for Senator Stephen Bradford. So this has all the contact information. Also, there's scripts that you can use to email their offices and send them communications. Let Senator Bradford know that, we're very thankful for him authoring SB 490 legislation, and that we need that to get pushed through in this 2024 session. So give him a call. We also have calls to action out for Assemblymember Isaac Bryant, Assemblymember Joan Sawyer, Assemblymember Corey Jackson, Assemblymember Akila Weber, and Governor Gavin Newsom. He has a call to action too. So yes, reach out, let them know how we feel and what we want as far as aggressive legislation coming up in the new season legislative session. There was an article released recently about the California Legislative Black Caucus announces priorities for 2024. So I'll read through this real quickly. It was released from BNN correspondence on January the 9th. The California Legislative Black Caucus, CLBC, has unveiled an ambitious agenda for 2024 legislative session, spotlighting a range of issues from health and education to public safety, social services, homelessness, affordable housing, and education. The CLBC intent is to champion legislation based on over 100 recommendations from the California Reparations Task Force, a groundbreaking panel that seeks to redress past racial injustices. CLBC members and key leadership roles. The CLBC optimism for forthcoming legislation session is buoyed by the record number of caucus members now occupying committee chair positions. Our guest Antonio mentioned something about that earlier in our discussion. New Budget Subcommittee on Human Services. One of the significant developments in the caucus's strategy is the creation of a new budget subcommittee on human services, spearheaded by Assemblymember Corey Jackson. And if you'll remember, Corey Jackson represents District 60. Wide-ranging issues on the agenda. Among the myriad of issues on the CLBC agenda are the budget deficit, closures of maternity wards, reparations, education, retail theft, public safety, medical reimbursement rates, public employee shortages, oil divestment, early education, child care, criminal justice reform, and ending mass incarceration. Um, Collaboration with the Black press. The CLBC acknowledges the crucial role of the Black press in disseminating information and raising awareness within their communities. The caucus has pledged to maintain an active engagement with Black media, recognizing its influence and reach. So, yes, that were just some of the key points of the article. If you're interested in reading the whole thing, there is a screenshot of the link down there at the bottom, or you can screenshot the link to that article at the bottom.
Well, Kim, I would be interested in what their interpretation of reparations education is.
Yeah.
Because I know task force member Don Tanaki and Cheryl Grills was supposed to be championing that as well, as far as taking it to the public schools and at least the high school level schools. So I'm just really interested in what that means to them. And as a good friend Antonio mentioned about the retail theft, that is quite alarming. You walk into the store now, everything's locked up. I'm just really surprised that they're still able to do all that, but it is still happening. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it will be very interesting to see what they consider in terms of reparations education.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a communication because you should be doing that anyway. I don't know. Well, we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what their priorities are. We're waiting to see if a press release will come out anytime soon. So keep an eye out for that. We definitely are. Another thing I came across in my research is just the California Legislative Black Caucus 2023-2024 budget request. And this was released back on April 20, 2023. It's been addressed to Governor Gavin Newsom, the Honorable Anthony Rendon, Speaker of California State Assembly, Nancy Skinner, Chair of the Budget Committee, Tony Atkins, Speaker pro tempore, and the Honorable Phil Ting, Chair of Assembly Budget Committee. And we can just go over really briefly what some of this says. On behalf of the California Legislative Black Caucus, we would like to extend our gratitude for the diligence and focus you have displayed to make equity a central principle of both the Assembly and Senate budget. Last year, with your partnership, we secured over $200 million in funding for foundational programs and initiatives that advance racial and economic equity in the state of California. We are proud to present to you our CLBC 2023-2024 legislative budget request. These proposals exemplify the objectives of the CLBC, which promotes economic security, educational equity, and social reform for African Americans in the state of California. So let's see what some of those requests were. California Black Media, Wilson. This proposal would enact budget language to ensure that existing and future state resources appropriated for community news organization are equitably distributed to Black local news organization. Now that was mentioned in that BNN article too, and Tony mentioned their Black media call with the legislature. So it looks like they are taking this Black media equity somewhat seriously, but we'll definitely have to stay on them about that. And as always, follow the money. Also, the equity multiplier. Now, I remember hearing Governor Gavin Newsom mention this along with the Bunch Center as one of the things that they preserved that the CLBC asked for. So let's see what exactly this equity multiplier is. The proposal allocates $300 million for elementary and middle schools where at least 90% of students qualify for free or reduced price meals. For high schools, that percentage is 85%. Now we know with the influx of, migration that a lot of the students in need nowadays will probably be of that population. But let's continue. Also, another request they had from Joan Sawyer, Assemblymember Joan Sawyer, is Youth Reinvestment Grant Program, $50 million. Request for $50 million to the Youth Reinvestment Grant Fund to support programs that divert youth away from jails using trauma-informed community and health-based interventions. Also, a request, Violence Intervention and Prevention Program. That's also Assemblymember Joan Sawyer request for $35 million to support programs that conduct outreach to targeted gangs and offer support services to reduce and eliminate gang involvement through job training, access to healthcare, and crisis response to shootings and violence.
Well, I wonder if these are the targeted issues that the CLBC told Governor Newsom, don't touch.
Yes,
Yeah.
it sounds like it, and he definitely
Yeah.
did mention the equity
Yeah.
multiplier as
Multiplier.
one of those, and the Bunch Center, which we will see a little bit later on the next slide. All right, and real quick, other requests include Restorative Justice Fund. That's $15 million. That request is coming from Weber. This fund would provide resources and local education agencies that elect to implement the restorative justice best practices that will be developed and posted on the Department of Education website by June 1st, 2024, pursuant to AB 2598. Another request, California State University, Dominguez Hills, $35 million request is coming from Assemblymember Bradford. This fund would adequately address mandatory salary and health pension issues for all employees, allow us to improve the Graduation Initiative 2025, support enrollment growth, and shore up infrastructure challenges that will help benefit our campus and facilitate student success. So California of University Dominguez Hills. He wants $35 million set aside for that. Birthing Justice for California Families Pilot, $67 million. This is a Smallwood Cuevas, Senator Smallwood Cuevas request outlined in AB 583. This bill would establish a 3-year pilot grant program for community-based doula groups, local public health departments, and other organizations that provide full spectrum doula care. 1. Women and birthing people whose communities suffer from disproportionately high rates of negative birth outcomes, but who are not eligible for Medi-Cal coverage. And 2. Incarcerated women and birthing people. And finally, the request we have in is UCLA Ralph Bunche Center for $5 million. Presented by Assemblymember Bryan. This request funds the operations of the only organized research unit in the UC system and the lending hub of research and policy on the conditions of Black life. The Bunche Center is core to the research and development of critical policy interventions that support equity, justice, and Black students and community members. So, as you all remember, Governor Gavin Newsom said that initiative or request is definitely preserved in the budget.
That is the only one, correct me if I'm wrong, Kim. There was some great reading, and thank you for this additional research. That's the only one that said Black specifically?
I mean that I think, yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah. All right. So, Moya, you had some slides you wanted to go over?
Yeah, just real quick, if you can just, these are some of the press releases. I'm not going to go into it too deep, but looks like they did, the CLBC had some press releases back in May of this year. Looks like Brian, Restoring Voting Rights, ACA 8 Wilson, which I believe we talked about on this program, is the end of slavery in California and involuntary servitude. Senator Bradford, SB 50, vehicles enforcement, AB 93, consent searches, AB 280, Chris Holden, solitary confinement, and AB 807 McCarthy, DOJ SOI investigating all deaths. So just wanted to briefly go over that. Next slide, please. In another press release they had out, looks like something dealing with the SEIOU. I believe that's the engineers union. So, I don't want to go too in depth with this, but yeah. So this was it. Yeah. So this is basically, they had a press release about it. Congratulating, it looks like, the newest U.S. Senator, LaFonza Butler, and who was the president, I guess, at the time of this SEIU state union. So I believe that was for 2023. They did have some other press releases from 2022. If anyone wants to check out on their website, that's in the chat for the California Legislative Black Caucus.
Okay. I think that closes us out. We should probably get back to our Sunday here.
We can check the comments. Moya?
Yeah. Well, before we check the comments, just to kind of let everybody know, we just wanted to present. And if anybody has any other information about the CLBC, let us know. But we just wanted to present the CLBC to everyone because obviously, as according to the governor, he's working with the California Legislative Black Caucus. So, hey, if you're interested in reaching out to them, you can actually pick up the phone yourself and call them. I actually did that myself. I called the chair. I can't remember the chair of the Judiciary Committee off the top of my Ash something. I wish I could remember his last name.
Akbar.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Here, do we have the? I think we have the. Yes. So Ash Kalra, the chair, just to kind of see where SB 490 was. I called his office, and we don't know yet where it's at because they haven't. I believe I think February is the right, Kim or Darlene. I think February is when they start the bill process or introducing new bills. Is that correct? I think something like that. So, so I called the office. I was like, hey, what's going on with SB 490? And they're like, oh, well, we're waiting on it. And if anything, call Senator Bradford, see what's going on. So, family, you can pick up the phone too. You can call these people too. I mean, we are presenting this information. As our good brother Antonio Harvey says, we're here as a platform to give you information, right? So you can empower yourself to make it happen. And not only here in California, but we do have listeners outside of California as well, and viewers. Please, you call them up. They have their contact information. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. They ain't gonna bite you. They ain't gonna do that. But you have to initiate. We're always looking for leaders. You are the leader, right? New York, where my New York family out there listening. You are the leader. Where my South Carolina family at? You are the leader. Where my Florida people at? my Alabama, my Mississippi, North Kakalaka, where my family at. All right. You guys are the leaders. We are here to provide you the information, but you must take the step and make it happen. You can do it. Call these people up, as I said before. But anyway, for sure, I just want to thank everyone for, their time in getting informed. But hey, you have the opportunity to do it yourself. So anyway, let's go to some of these comments, shall we? Alrighty. Start off at the top. Truth to power. Peace, Friedman family from LA.
All
What
right,
up,
all right.
City of
Right
Angels
right
in the
up.
building and everywhere else. What's up, fam? What's up, fam? EPA for reparation. Peace, family. East Palo Alto in
The house.
the building. So once again, please go to California Black Caucus. It's in the chat. That's blackcaucus.legislature.ca.gov. That's blackcaucus.legislature.ca.gov. Shout out to Micha Desel. Hopefully we pronounce your name correctly. I love this channel. Keep up the good work. Thank you. We appreciate that. Thank you very much for coming through. Appreciate you. All right. I just looked at the CA Black Media Network and didn't know half of those publishers were Black owned.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Nita. What's up, Nita? In the building. The Black church is the foundation for all past reparative justice movements. It should be for this current reparations movement.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Should be is the question. Thank you, Moyen Kim and ETN Media. PIB welcomes Mr. Harvey today at 4 p.m. PST. Shout out to our Politics in Black family. God bless CBM. Yes. Great discussion. Appreciate you. Okay. So go check out CJEC Official's website at cjec-official.org. That's cjec-official.org. And once again, Dr. Keela Weber is having her virtual town hall. So you can register at the link in the chat for this upcoming virtual town hall. And thank you for this most critical CLBC legislative update. Thank you as well. So those are the comments for today. All right. Well, I think that's about it. So we're going to wrap it up. Is there anything that my esteemed colleagues would like to say before we wrap it up? What y'all think about the CLBC? Well, I mean, where do you think we're headed? How do you think so far since, the information that we've gotten from the CLBC in terms of reparations, in terms of what's been presented? I didn't see anything about SB 40 yet. Mm-hmm. I didn't see anything about, I saw restorative something on there. I did see reparations education. So reparations was mentioned, a little bit.
Briefly.
Briefly.
Very briefly.
Yeah.
Keep up those call to actions. Don't let up. It is your responsibility. It's called the Legislative Black Caucus. And we know when you say black, you're talking about descendants. Let's not get it confused.
Don't get it twisted, huh, darling?
Don't, please. So, please. So, I would like to encourage everyone to, as you said, visit CJEC Official. Just retweet, email those call to actions. They're getting them.
And we're just running through the calls to action, and be sure to, subscribe to CJEC Official on social media so you will see the upcoming calls to action. But yeah, I mean, I know that we've worked up some of these slides a while ago. We'll need to revisit their platforms and priorities, but I really have not seen any language around reparations in anyone that I've researched platform. So I'm hoping that will increase in the upcoming year.
Absolutely. I mean, especially the hard work that the task force and the community, right, has put in. It's been a community group effort, right? And I know our good brother Antonio was talking about, the communications, the challenges with the communications, right, regarding reparations. But regardless, the community stepped up, the community came through, everywhere from Los Angeles all the way up to Northern California, right? Wherever the task force was at, I'll probably say, except the first one, in San Francisco. That was a little disappointing, to be honest with you.
Well, again, can we put a little blame into the communications?
Yeah, we sure can about that one. So the first in person was a little disappointing, but after that, everybody showed up, which was great, and participated, right? To say, hey, this is what we're looking for. We're looking, for lineage-based reparations. We're looking for cash. And then, we're looking for a way, that we can get some repair, so it would be very disappointing, right, if a bill like SB 490 at least doesn't go through the legislative process at minimum, at least let it go through the legislative process, let the public and let our legislative body look at this bill, right? Because if it just falls on the floor, it will be very disappointing.
Well, we can't let that happen. So again, keep that energy, keep that momentum going into 2024, and contact your CLBC members.
Absolutely, family.
And I am, again, I've mentioned it several times, I am in Lori Wilson's district. So, Ms. Wilson, it's on you and your staff, your team, rather. I'm not going to call them your staff, your team.
And once again, here's the handy QR code for you to contact your California state reps. Go ahead and screenshot that so you can get at them whenever you need to.
Absolutely.
And then one other thing I want to say, and then we'll call it, release I will, be my last thought of today. Two last thoughts. First, I love this graphic of California. You have all the members there. I love that. But the other thing I want to say is with Governor Newsom's press conference, he said he not only read the final report, he devoured it. Okay, then what Chapter 17 talks about. What Chapter 18 talks about. What is in Chapter 18 establishes the recommendations for the SB 490 for CAFA. So let's not get it confused. You put yourself out there. You said you devoured it. So let's see.
Yep. Section 1, Part 14.
Call him up and quiz him.
Don't call, yes. And 17 is for compensation, specifically for descendants of U.S. chattel slavery. Let's not play, Mr. Newsom. I haven't played games in a while. Don't play.
What did it say? Cut the check.
Write the check. Make that CAFA happen. Make it happen. And it's going to take us as a community to demand it with our votes. Like your office? Is it cozy? You want to be there next year?
No reparations, no vote.
No vote. Next.
All right, family. Well, thanks once again for coming through. As always, we appreciate you. Stay tuned, stay informed, stay blessed, stay vigilant in whatever you do. And on that wonderful and great note, peace and reparations.
Did you ever think what it would be like traveling along in an open car without a windshield? Boy, you wouldn't go very far before you got all splattered with mud. And you'd have to keep your eyes closed so as not to be blinded by the dust. Well, when you're traveling along in life, Rangers, common sense acts as a pretty important windshield. It lets you see where you're going.
I am the greatest.